In Widow's Creek, they said her beauty could kill a man. And maybe it already had. I came looking for whiskey and a bed. Instead, I found her draped in black silk eyes, sharp as razor's lips, whispering promises the grave couldn't keep. And before sunrise, I would learn the deadliest secret of the West belonged to her. In Widow's Creek, they said her beauty could kill a man. And maybe it already had. I didn't come for secrets. I came for whiskey, a bed, and maybe a card game to pay for both. The desert had chewed me thin, and my horse looked worse. Widow's Creek sat in a hollow lanterns glowing like tired fireflies, the kind of town that pretends to be asleep but keeps one eye open. The first thing I noticed wasn't the sheriff's office, or the gallows rotting in the square, or the saloon music leaking through half-broken shutters. It was her. She stood on the balcony, above the saloon, draped in black silk that shimmered even in weak lantern light. Hair dark as raven wings, skin pale under the desert moon lips, painted like fresh blood. Isabella. They called her the widow, and they said, her husband didn't just die. He was buried with questions no preacher could answer. Her gaze slid across the street and locked on me. 1,000 men could have been in that town, but in that moment, it felt like she had been waiting only for me. She lifted her glass in a silent toast. I should have kept walking. But some looks weigh heavier than bullets. Inside the saloon, the air was thick with smoke, sweat, and suspicion. A piano stumbled through a tune, and card players hunched over their sins. Isabella descended the stairs like a queen without a crown, every step slow enough to make men forget what they were doing. She didn't smile, but her eyes dared me to come closer. You're not from here, she said, voice smooth as bourbon. No, I replied. Passing through. Passing men rarely pass, she said, pouring herself into the chair across from me. Especially when they see me. She wasn't wrong. The barkeep slid a drink my way without asking. I took it, though my throat was already dry for other reasons. Isabella leaned forward, silk slipping to reveal a line of skin pale as moonlight. Tell me, stranger, she said softly. Do you believe in curses? I frowned. Curses. Her fingers traced the rim of her glass. They say Widow's Creek is cursed. They say every man who touches me ends up in the ground. My husband, the first. She paused, but not the last. The piano faltered. A chair scraped. Men were listening now, though pretending not to. What do you believe? I asked. She smiled without warmth. That depends. Do you frighten easy? Before I could answer, the saloon doors slammed open. A tall man in a dust-stained duster stormed in revolver, swinging from his hip. His eyes burned holes in Isabella. You, he shouted. Witch. You killed him. Gasps rippled through the room. Isabella didn't flinch. She lifted her glass and sipped unbothered. I kill no one, Mr. Harper, she said calmly. Men die because they want more than they can hold. Liar Harper's snarled hand flying to his gun. I'll end this curse tonight. My chair scraped back. My hand brushed my holster. But Isabella moved faster, with nothing but words. Shoot me, she said coldly, rising to her feet. And prove them right. The room held its breath. Harper's hand trembled, finger white on the trigger. I could see it. The next heartbeat would spill blood across the floor. So I did the only thing I could. I stepped between them. Easy, I said, steady. You kill her, you hang by morning. Sheriff won't save you from a mob itching for spectacle. Harper spat on the floor, eyes darting between us. You'll see, stranger. She's poison, and men who drink her die screaming. He stormed outdoors, banging behind him. Maybe I wanted to. Silence. Then the piano started again. Too loud. Too fast. Men returned to their cards, though their eyes kept cutting toward us. You didn't have to do that, she murmured. Her locket glimmered against the silk, small, golden, and heavy with promise. I nodded at it. What's inside? Her lips curved, dangerous as a knife. The last thing my husband ever wrote. His will. A hush seemed to fall again, though maybe it was just in my head. And what does it say? She studied me long and careful. Most men want me. Few survive it. Before I could answer, a crash erupted outside, the shouts of men, the sound of boots on wood, and then a voice bellowing through the night. Bring out the widow tonight, the curse ends. The saloon erupted. Men grabbed chairs, bottles, pistols. The mob was at the door. Isabella's hand found mine cold and strong. Choose now, stranger, she hissed. Stand with me or die with them. The doors shook under fists. Shadows loomed across the windows. The town had turned against her, against us. And in that instant I realized the stories were true. Widow's Creek wasn't cursed. It was hungry. The saloon doors buckled under fists, hinges groaning. Shouts poured through the cracks. Which murderess? Burn her out. The piano man slipped away, leaving only silence and fear. A bottle rolled across the floor, clinking to a stop against my boot. Isabella stood tall, though her hand clutched mine with a strength that betrayed her calm. Her eyes flashed in the lamplight, fearless but also pleading. Stand with me, she whispered again. Or leave now before they tear this place apart. I squared my shoulders. I've ridden too far to run from shadows. The door split. A plank snapped. The mob was seconds away. I dragged a table and braced it against the frame, shoving back as fists hammered from outside. The barkeep swore under his breath. They'll kill us all. They want her, I said. Not you. Isabella's voice cut through like a blade. They don't just want me. They want what I carry. Her locket glimmered as she spoke, catching firelight. Every man in the room stared at it, even those who'd pretended not to care. What's in there? The barkeep asked, greedy now. My husband's will, she said. And the name of the man who murdered him. The room shifted. Even the mob outside seemed to fall quiet, as if the words seeped through the cracks. Who? I asked. She opened the locket slowly. Inside was a folded scrap of paper, edges frayed from years of being touched, hidden, feared. She didn't let me see the writing, only closed it again and pressed it to her heart. Not tonight, she said. Not until I know you're truly with me. The door crashed inward, splinters flying. Torches thrust through the opening flames, licking the smoke-stained rafters. A dozen faces glared and twisted by rage and firelight. There she is, one bellowed. Drag her out. I leveled my Colt. First man threw dies. The mob hesitated. Courage comes easy in numbers, but it falters when the first step means blood. Then a voice rose above them, all steady, commanding. Sheriff Hale. Hold. The mob froze. The sheriff pushed through, tall, weary-eyed, his badge dull under torchlight. He looked at me first, then at Isabella. This town is at the edge of ruin, he said. Every death feeds the curse. But tonight, we end it with truth, not fire. Truth. A man spat. The truth is, she killed her husband. Did she? Hale asked, voice heavy. Or did she just keep the one thing he feared would outlive him? He turned to Isabella. Show them. The room crackled with tension. Isabella's hand shook just slightly as she held the locket. Her eyes searched mine. Do I? She whispered. I nodded. Better to face wolves with teeth bared than with a blindfold. She opened the locket. This time she unfolded the paper, hands trembling but voice steady. My husband, Jonathan Graves, wrote this. Before he died, she declared. It says, he feared for his life not from me, but from the men he called partners. The same men who built this town on stolen gold. Gasps. Murmurs. Names were written there. She claimed names of merchants, ranchers, even deputies. The curse wasn't Isabella. The curse was greed, rotting Widow's Creek from the inside. But before she could finish, the torches outside flared brighter. A rider pushed through the mob, black hat low, revolver gleaming. His voice dripped venom. Enough lies, widow. The crowd parted. I felt Isabella stiffen beside me. She whispered a name like a prayer turned sour. Marcus, the dead husband's brother. He rode his horse right up to the saloon steps, staring down at us through the smoke. His smile was cruel and sharp. You think you can soil my family's name with scraps of paper, Marcus sneered. Jonathan may have been weak, but I won't let you disgrace him. He raised his pistol. The mob surged, torn between fear and frenzy. Torches fell, flames licked the saloon walls. Smoke rolled thick. I fired a warning shot into the air. Back off. The crowd hesitated, but Marcus didn't. He dismounted with slow, deliberate steps, boots echoing on the wooden boards. Hand me the locket, he growled, or I bury you beside my brother. Isabella's hand crushed mine, trembling now. Her eyes darted to me, then back to Marcus. Run, she whispered. Please, Cole. If you die for me, the curse wins. But I didn't move. Because something in Marcus's eyes told me the curse wasn't just a story. It was walking on two legs, carrying a gun and standing right in front of us. The flames roared louder. The mob shouted. Isabella's secret dangled between life and death. And Marcus cocked his revolver. Marcus's revolver gleamed in the firelight, cocked and hungry. Smoke curled between us thick, with the smell of fear and burning whiskey. Give me the locket, he growled again, or I'll paint these walls with your lies. The mob surged behind him, half drunk on rage, half stunned by Isabella's words. Flames licked higher shadows, dancing across faces that weren't sure anymore who the villain was. I steadied my Colt. You shoot her, Marcus, and every man here knows why you're hiding something. Marcus sneered. You think they'll side with a drifter over me? This is my town. My blood built it. No, Isabella, said her voice, sharp, ringing over the chaos. Your blood poisoned it. She lifted the parchment again, shaking but fierce. My husband named his killers. He wrote that Jonathan Graves was betrayed by his own brother. A gasp rippled through the mob. Men turned to look at Marcus, eyes narrowing. Lies, Marcus barked, but his voice cracked like rotten wood. He lunged forward, pistol raised. Instinct took me. My Colt roared bullets, sparking off the doorframe inches from his head. He froze. The mob staggered back, torn between running and watching. Drop it, I said, voice like iron. For a heartbeat, I thought he would. Then Marcus's eyes slid sideways, cold calculation. His pistol swung not at Isabella, not at me, but at the sheriff, standing just beyond the door. The shot split the night. Sheriff Hale staggered, fell, blood blooming across his chest. The mob screamed. In the confusion, Marcus lunged, seizing Isabella's wrist, tearing the parchment from her hand. He crushed it in his fist, laughing. You see, he shouted, this is all that keeps her alive, a piece of paper. And now it's mine. I fired, but he dragged her into the crowd, using her body as shield. Torches swung wildly. Men shoved fists, and fear colliding in the smoke. My bullet struck wood, harmless. Colle, Isabella cried, struggling against Marcus's grip. Don't let him. Her words choked as he slammed her against the saloon doors and dragged her outside. The mob swallowed them both. I fought through coughing, shoving men aside. The sheriff gasped on the floor, blood seeping between his fingers. "Stop him," he rasped. "Before the town burns." I nodded once and plunged after them. The night outside was chaos. The saloon blazed behind me, fire climbing skyward like judgment. Marcus shoved Isabella onto a horse, vaulting up behind her. He waved the crushed parchment like a flag of victory. "She's mine," he bellowed to the crowd. "And anyone who follows dies." He spurred his horse into the dark, Isabella struggling against his arm. I bolted for my gelding, leaping into the saddle, spurring hard. The chase tore through Widow's Creek hooves, hammering torches, flaring townsfolk scattering. Sparks from the burning saloon rained like fiery snow. We thundered down the dirt road, Marcus ahead, dragging her into the night. Her eyes found mine once. Wild, desperate pleading. The canyon swallowed us both. The chase ended at the cemetery. Weathered stones glowed ghostly in the moonlight. Marcus dismounted, yanking Isabella down with him, pistol pressed to her temple. "End of the line, stranger," he snarled as I slid off my horse, Colt steady. "This is where you bury your hero dreams." Isabella twisted in his grip, silk-torn hair wild. "Marcus, please," she begged. "You killed Jonathan, and now you'll damn the town too. Don't drag me into your grave." Marcus's laugh was harsh. "Jonathan was weak. I did what needed doing. And now you'll be mine, widow, whether by vow or by rope." His eyes cut to me. "You don't get it, do you? She lures men like flies, and every one of them ends up dead. You'll be next." "Maybe," I said evenly. "But at least I'll die standing for something." The wind howled through the graves, rattling dry branches. Marcus pressed the pistol harder to her skin. Isabella winced, but her eyes locked on mine, steady burning. "Cole," she whispered. "Trust me." And in a flash she acted. Her knee drove backward into Marcus's gut. He cursed, doubled, grip loosening. I fired the bullet, ripped his shoulder, spinning him. Isabella tore free, stumbling into my arms. Marcus fell against a headstone, clutching his wound, laughing even through blood. "You think it's over," he spat. "The curse won't die with me. This town will eat you alive. Both of you." He raised his pistol one last time. I fired again. Marcus collapsed, the laughter choking silent. The graveyard stilled. Only the fire's glow on the horizon, and Isabella's ragged breath remained. She clung to me, trembling now that it was done. "You saved me," she whispered. "But at what cost?" Her eyes flicked to the parchment crushed in Marcus's hand, bloodied, half-burned, but not destroyed. I pried it free. The writing was smeared, but the names remained. Powerful names. Men still alive. The curse wasn't a ghost. It was a list. I folded it, slipped it into my coat. "This isn't over," I said. Isabella's hand pressed against my chest. "Then neither is our story." But even as dawn broke over Widow's Creek painting the desert gold, I knew the mob wouldn't rest. We hadn't ended the curse. We had just torn the mask from it. And soon, it would come for us both. Dawn crept slow over Widow's Creek, bleeding red across the desert sky. The fire at the saloon had died to smoking ruins, but the smoke of suspicion still hung heavy. The mob had scattered in the chaos, but their whispers would return with daylight. I walked Isabella back through the empty streets. Her black silk dress was torn hair, tangled face, pale yet fierce. To anyone watching, she looked less like a widow than a survivor. At the sheriff's office, old Hale lay bandaged, clinging to life. He wheezed as we entered, but his eyes found the parchment I carried. "You've got it," he rasped. I nodded. Names. All the men Jonathan called partners in crime and his killers. Hale coughed hard, spitting blood. "You show that list The town tears itself apart. Men with money, men with guns. Isabella stepped forward, voice sharp. Better torn apart than rotting quietly. The sheriff studied her, then me. Maybe so, but neither of you will live easy after this. Widow's Creek don't forgive. And it don't forget. He closed his eyes, strength spent. We stepped outside. The sun had risen, but the street felt colder than midnight. Isabella gripped my arm, voice low. He's right. They'll come for us. With law or without it. Then we ride, I said, to anywhere that isn't cursed. Her lips curved faintly. Do you believe that exists? I wanted to. I wanted to believe there was a stretch of land where bullets couldn't follow, where a woman's beauty wasn't called a curse, where love wasn't sharpened into a weapon. But the West didn't trade in beliefs, only choices. I saddled my horse. She mounted behind me, arms tight around my waist. The town lay silent as a grave while we rode out. No one stopped us. No one dared. But I could feel their eyes burning holes in our backs. At the ridge I turned once more. Widow's Creek crouched in the hollow, small and dark, already burying last night beneath fresh lies. The parchment weighed heavy in my coat like a loaded gun with no holster. Beside me, Isabella leaned close, whispering, We're not free yet. No, I said, but we're moving. The horizon stretched wide, gold and merciless. Ahead was danger, betrayal, maybe even death. But behind us was worse chains dressed up as curses. I kicked the horse into a gallop. The desert opened, swallowing us whole, and in the rush of wind and hooves I realized something. The widow's last secret wasn't in the locket. It wasn't in the parchment. It was in her eyes when she looked at me, eyes that said, love in the West was the deadliest gamble of all. Thank you for staying with me until the very end of this story. If this journey through the Wild West touched your heart or kept you on the edge of your seat, do me a favor, leave a like and share your thoughts in the comments. And if you don't want to miss the next untold story of love, betrayal, and survival, make sure you subscribe to Western Romance Stories. Until then, stay strong, stay hopeful, and I'll meet you in the next tale of the frontier.